Who have you just loved the most in your life? Is there anyone that you have just loved, just adored? A lot of you have heard me talk about my Polish grandmother, my Baci. She was it for me. She taught me how much you could love somebody. I found her so incredibly lovable, and my love for her taught me what love feels like. She lived in Albany, and I grew up in Rochester, so it was like about a 4-hour drive away. And when she would be coming to stay at our house, I always begged, please let her stay in my room. I'll sleep on the pullout. And she would stay in my bed, which was like the biggest honor I could imagine. And I would want to be by her for everything, for the All-Bran in the morning, and for like going for the walk in the afternoon and watching Wheel of Fortune and all of that. And I loved it at night. She would like take her hair out of the bun. She had beautiful long silver hair that went halfway down her back. And I would watch her comb it, long strokes, and get all the way down to the end of the tip of each hair. And then she would go to bed, and I would have to go to bed because we often had school the next day. And I would be counting down the days, dreading the day that they would leave. Because I knew that on the day that they would leave, I would come home from school, get off the bus, go to my room, and the bed would be empty. And all of her things would be gone. And the All-Bran wasn't on the counter anymore. And I was dreading that. I have a memory of a period in my life, maybe when I was like 8 or 9, when I used to go to the bathroom on the day that she'd leave, and I'd pull out the hairbrush that she used to comb her long hair, and I would collect all the silver hairs out of it. And I would roll them into a ball, and I would keep them in my drawer. Sounds weird, right? But it's because I loved her. I hear stories of people who do things like that. When someone is deployed, I'll sometimes hear a story of the spouse sleeping in their t-shirt every night until they come home. I talk to people all the time who will say, "Father, this is my mother's rosary. I always keep it on me." Or this is my grandfather's pocket watch, and I was named after him, and it's my most prized possession. And that feeling of me even getting a catch on my throat thinking about that hairbrush, that's what tonight is all about. It's that feeling we're talking about. Tonight is a night for us to celebrate how lovable God is. God is so lovable. The only response any of us could possibly have to who God is to be head over heels in love with how lovable God is. And in case we couldn't know that on our own, Jesus points it out. Jesus lives what makes God so lovable. There are so many things that are happening this week that are reminding us of how lovable God is. When we see the Passion being acted out, like we did on Palm Sunday or like we will tomorrow on Good Friday, it touches our hearts. Some of us tonight actually got to feel God coming to them in the form of a ritual and like washing their feet. And if that was mind-blowingly close, what about the fact that in a few moments God is going to enter our bodies through the Eucharist, which we celebrate tonight, the Last Supper, the actual day that gift was given to us. When you realize that from all that we've heard in the scriptures, to all that we felt in the rituals, to all that we're going to imbibe in the Eucharist, God is literally caressing us, taking care of us, nurturing us from our hair follicles down to the soles of our feet. Literally. That is so incredibly lovable. And what response could our hearts have but incredible love? There are a lot of people who spend a lot of their life being pretty afraid of God. There's a lot of folks who are in fear of God, afraid of God attacking them or hurting them. And there's only one kind of fear of God that I think really makes sense on a night like tonight. It would be the same way we would feel about a father or a mother that we just admire more than words could say. The fear of disappointing them. I think we should all have a fear of disappointing God, of not living a life that would make God smile and say, there she is, that's my girl, that's my boy. That's the only fear that makes sense on a night like tonight, is not living up to the potential that's been invested in us by the one who made us. Because being afraid of God attacking us or wanting to hurt us makes no sense. Jesus didn't reveal a God like that. That's not how Jesus, God's Son in the world, showed us God is like. The Hindu religion is the third largest religion in the world. The largest is Christianity, the second is Islam, and the third is Hinduism. And it's a beautiful religion. I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to know a Hindu or to go to a Hindu festival. Maybe some of us have gotten a chance to go to India. But one of the things that's very impressive about Hinduism is you can live that faith and practice that religion in a whole bunch of ways. There's no wrong way to be a Hindu, but there's three main paths that people follow. The path of works, where they try to make the world a better place. The path of knowledge, where they try to study the scriptures and really learn philosophy and the right way to live. And the third path is the path of devotion. And the path of devotion is often chosen by people who are like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I've got enough energy to take the path of works. I don't know if I'm smart enough for the path of wisdom, but I sure love God. I'm going to choose the path of devotion. They just love God. If you get to be in a Hindu neighborhood or you go to a place like India, you're going to see people stopping traffic to hold an impromptu procession. And they're just dancing and singing all about God. You'll see all of a sudden in a field a huge bonfire and people dancing in love of God. Holding parades, beating drums, lighting candles, staying up late, keeping watch. And that's what tonight is for us. That's what this is. Tonight is a night about devotion. We're here to say to God, you are always there for us. You always have our back. You're always with us. Let us be there for you tonight. We just want to be there tonight. We don't want to come out of any sense of obligation. We don't want to come out of any sense of trying to put money in the bank or make sure that we're kissing up to the big guy. None of that. We're here for devotion. We're here to collect the little silver hairs that God leaves all over the world. And we're here to collect them in a little ball and just hold on to them, put them in our pocket, the one that's right near our heart. And perhaps the reason our devotion is so keen tonight, the reason why, if you haven't already had them, you probably will have goosebumps tonight. If you haven't already had tears in your eyes, you likely will, is because this is a night of suffering for the one who loves us. This is a night of suffering. Jesus was not carefree at the Last Supper. There was struggle in him. He was in the midst of being hurt and betrayed by someone who promised to love him. What we're going to celebrate tonight in the Garden of Gethsemane is not an easy thing. But it feels to me like there is a direct relationship between the amount that people suffer and the amount of devotion that they often have. It feels like often people who've known great suffering also know great love intimately well. Recently, we had a funeral here for Therese Collier. She was a glamorous woman. She lived to be 96 years old, but people wouldn't know that. She wore a beautiful pink suede pantsuit and aviator glasses to her great-great-granddaughter's baptism earlier this year. She was so beautiful and stylish. That's because she grew up in Montreal. She was a big city French-Canadian girl who married an American serviceman, and they had 9 children. And it was hard having 9 children, but they loved each other. And one of the children had cerebral palsy and never spoke, and lived with his mom until he was 45 when he passed. And that was a struggle for obvious reasons, but it just made them love each other even more. The way her children talked about her at the time of her homegoing, the visit that I got to have with her at her bed as hospice was taking such good care of her, getting ready for her to go home. And there was everyone around her recounting memories of what a good mom she was, of how brave she was in the struggles of life, of how much she loved their brother who could never go off on his own and never even could speak. Maybe there's some connection to this struggle and this love. Maybe the greater our suffering sometimes is, the more capacity is hollowed out inside of us to love even more. I think that's why for those who've really struggled, Holy Thursday is an easy night to celebrate. It's a night of devotion. It's the time to sleep in God's t-shirt, hold God's pocket watch close to us. Keep that rosary right where it belongs, right next to our heart. Gather all the silver hairs and have them in a ball and keep them on our nightstand. This is a night that we say, you're always there for us, God. Tonight, we stay here with you. We want to sit at your feet like golden retrievers. We want to stick our cold nose right into your lap and get you to pet us. You've always been there for us, God. Tonight, that is crystal clear to each one of us. Tonight, let us be there with and for you.